Students, welcome back to Botany first year class. So today we are going with the another LQs that are present in the 12th chapter. Okay. So here we will go with the SAQ, that is the differences between the lenticels and the stomatal apparatus. So what are lenticels and what are stomata? First of all, if we know, then it will come. कैंसिल कर दीजिए मैंने इसको दबाइएगा कैंसिल Thank you. Okay, so what are lenticels and what are stomatal apparatus? First of all, if we know this meaning, then we can go with the differences between the lenticels and the stomata. Stomata are the apparatus that are present on the leaf, that is in the dicot and in the monocot leaves. We can see the stomatal apparatus as well as in the monocot stem also we can see. And when the dicot stem is very young, then also stomatal apparatus are present. Okay, so these are inbuilt, are present from the early ages of the plant body, that is the leaves, stem, okay. But the lenticels are going to be formed after the secondary growth. How they are going to be formed? They will be formed by the disintegration of the few cells over there. That means some cells will die over here so that a small opening can be seen, and this opening is called as the lenticel. And the stomata is going to be occurred in the plant body formed by the living cells. Okay, formed by the living cells. If we know this difference, then we can say the differences between the lenticels and the stomatal apparatus. Okay, so what we made the answer in like this only. So in this, the lenticels are formed on the cork tissue of the stem. Cork tissue means after the cork tissue means after the secondary growth, the tissue that is formed at the tip of on the outer side of the stem, that is on the epidermis, that is the dead tissue, that is called as the cork tissue, bark. Okay, so this is the lenticels are formed on the cork tissue, that is the bark also what we can say. Okay, and stomata, where the stomata are present? Stomata are formed by which cells? I said already, living epidermal cells. So because we are saying the stomatal apparatus generally seen in the leaf, so these are formed in the young stem and the leaves by the epidermal cells. Okay, and the what is the shape of the lenticels and the stomata. Stomatal shape we know. Stomatal shape is the bean shape, narrow openings, and that are formed by the bean shaped God cells. Okay, and they are having a small opening. Now that's what we are saying, the stomata. So here the stomata is having a narrow opening, and whereas the lenticels are having a broad opening and the lens shaped opening like this. Lens shaped opening is present for the lenticels. Okay, and these are formed by the lysis. Lysis means the death of the cells, lysis of the epidermal cells. Okay, and the stomatal apparatus are formed by the living epidermal cells. And the next one, what the lenticels will do? Lenticels will help out in the exchange of the gases, whereas stomatal apparatus will do is helpful for the gaseous exchange as well as for the transpiration process. This is the most important one in the stomatal apparatus, the transpiration that occurs through the stomata. That is exchange of the gases. Okay, exchange of the gases as well as the release of the extra water molecule that are present in the plant body in the form of the water vapor is called as the transpiration. So that occurs through the stomatal apparatus. That's the most important one, what we need to mention over there. And these lenticels are formed after the secondary growth. Okay, and the stomatal apparatus are formed when the leaves were formed in the plant body. That is when in the young stage itself, we will see the stomatal apparatus are going to be occurring in the plant body. So these are the 6 differences what we need to mention in this answer. Okay, and next comes another important question in this chapter, that is by the position of the meristematic tissue. How to say which type of meristematic tissue is present in the plant body. Okay, by the position of the meristematic tissue, we can divide the meristematic tissues into the 3 different types. Position of meristematic tissue. Okay, again, these are the 3 different types, 3 types where they are going to be present. We can say the meristematic tissues are of the 3 types. The first one is the apical meristems, intercalary meristems, and lateral meristems. Okay, the first one is the apical meristem. And where these apical meristems are present and what is the function of this meristematic tissue. These are the apical meristematic tissue. And these are the intracalary meristematic tissue. And now comes the lateral meristems. Apical meristematic tissue. And this is the intracalary meristematic tissue. And these are the lateral meristematic tissues. So what is meant by apical meristematic tissue? Apical meristematic tissue is the tissue that is present at the tip of the stem or the root. And what is the next one? It should be the function what we have to write. So in the apical meristems, the main function is to make the growth of the stem and the root in the vertical direction, okay, into the soil and above the soil surface respectively. Into the soil, root will grow like this. Above the soil, stem will grow like this. So that is the main function of the apical meristematic tissues. So it shows the growth in the plant body. Next comes the intracalary meristematic tissue. Intracalary meristematic tissue, where that is present, it is present above and below the nodal regions. Okay, so I have drawn with the orange above and below the node. This is the node. Above and below the nodal region, intracalary meristematic tissue is present. What is the function of this? The main function is to promote the bud formation, otherwise the leaf formation, branch formation, and the flower formation, fruit formation. So all those things, all those works were done only by the intracalary meristematic tissue. And these intracalary meristematic tissues are present only on the stem, not on the root. Why? Because roots does not have the nodes and internodes. So there is no chance of a presence of this intracalary meristematic tissue over there. So what we have to say, the intracalary meristematic tissues are present only on the stem, not on the root. Okay. And the next one is the lateral meristematic tissue. Lateral meristematic tissue is the meristematic tissue that is presence will be occurred after the secondary growth, during the secondary growth. So it promotes the secondary growth only, and it will be formed, otherwise placed on the lateral side of the stem or the root. So here I am not using the nodes and internodes. Okay, on the lateral side of the stem or a root. If you say this is the stem, on the lateral side, on both sides of this, okay, the lateral meristems are present. Like that for the root also same thing. On the lateral side, the lateral meristems are present. These are meant for doing the secondary growth. That means to increase the thickness of the stem. Okay, so thickness word can be used for the this can be used by any student. That is for the supply student, it will be the good one. And whenever you are going with the improvement, then this answer comes. Then what you have to say, to increase the girth of the stem. Girth. The word gives the capacity of us over the subject command. So you have to use some specific words when you are going for the improvement exam in this. Okay, botany first year. And for the second, for the supply students, they can use the simple words, thickness. Thickness means it increases the width. Okay, but here once we are going for the improvement, and when we are going for the competitive exam wise preparation, then you need to go with the specific word that is nothing but the girth of the stem. Okay, and this is meant to, this is increases the, this makes the occurrence of the secondary growth in the stem and in the root. This is the meristematic tissue. Okay. Now we will go with some other important questions in the chapter 4, that is the plant kingdom. So what we have to say in this plant kingdom? So in this, the first question, most important one, is the differentiate between red algae and brown algae. And those who are going for the competitive exam wise preparation, once you have prepared with this SAQ, that means you can able to give the answer for one question in the competitive exam. That also 4 marks in the NEET exam and 1 mark in the MSET exam. So that much easiest and the important concepts of now what we are going to see. In this, the first one is the differentiate between the red algae and the brown algae. What is the red algae? This is the common name of the class. But first of all, you should start with the scientific name of the class. This is mandatory for everyone. Those are the dullers, otherwise the good students. I'm not talking about the capacity now. Everyone need to say the scientific name of the class over here for the algal members. Red algae are also called as the rhodophysae. In this, RHO. So the spellings learn properly. Rhodophysae, RHODO, rhodophysae, PHYCEAE. This is the common one for the class, for the algal members, Physae. So instead of that, we are having chloro. This one we can say rhodo, RHODO, rhodo. And the next one is PO. See these words only you need to learn, and this is the common word for the class name. So easy in my subject to learn the spellings of the class names also. Okay. So rhodophysae, red algal members are also considered as also called as the rhodophysae. Remember, the red algae starts with R and the rhodophysae starts with R. Like that, you have to remember the class names, rhodophysae. And the next one is the brown algae. Brown algae is also called as the Phaeophysae members. Phaeophysae members. And the next point, what we have to write here is where they will live. Okay, they are going to live on in the marine water and the fresh water. So here the red algal members are always, they are the marine members, marine algal members. And in that few are the fresh water and the brackish water. Okay. And very few organisms can survive in the fresh water and the brackish water. So we have to mention this condition also for the red algae. Whereas for the brown algae, all the members are the marine. And in that also, very few are the only the fresh water, not the brackish. So that also we need to mention in the brown algal members. And after the class name and where they are living, now comes with the cell wall composition. Because these are the algal members, those are having the cell wall, plasma membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, and when they are exhibiting the colors, based on the colors only we have divided now. So which type of pigments are present in them to give that type of color for the organism. That also we need to mention over here. So the cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin, and the polysulfate esters. So cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin, and polysulfate esters. Remember this. Okay, because this is the competitive exam is also, it's most important for us as well as for the theory. So whenever we are preparing for the theory, there is no such extra preparation for the competitive exam. Once we have prepared for the competitive exam in the first year, and we thought that we got less marks only for that preparation, then how can that could be possible here? Whatever we learned, we need to write. So there is no such further preparation for the IPA. So the same thing continues for each and every chapter till the second year last chapter for my subject. I'm talking only for my subject. I'm not concerned with the other subjects. So in botany, when you are preparing for the competitive exam, don't think that we have prepared for competitive exam and we cannot able to write the IPA exam. And once we have prepared for IPA exam, we need to thoroughly prepare for the competitive exam. That's it. But 50% we can able to give the answers in the competitive exam. That much easiest way is the preparation. But you need to know the how to go it. So the cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin, and polysulfate esters. Okay. And whereas in the brown algae, the cell wall is made up of cellulose. This is the common one for both the red algae and the brown algae. Apart from that, the brown algae is having the algin. Algin as its one of the components of the cell wall. So why that is present? That's the neat-wise point. Okay. That's now I'm not going to discuss for the competitive exam wise. So I won't say why the algin is present in the composition of the cell wall for the brown algae. Now comes the next one. That is the pigments. That which type of pigments are present in the red algal members and the brown algal members. In the red algal members, we will see the pigments are of the chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and R phycoerythrin. Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and R phycoerythrin. Remember this. Phycoerythrin is the one, this pigment gives the orangish red color for the plant body. But here it is having only the R phycoerythrin. That means completely red color for the organism. So how to remember? Okay, chlorophyll A and B are the ones what they will do the photosynthesis. Okay, main function is to do the photosynthesis. Coloring was given by the R phycoerythrin. Which color? Red color. Okay, in this, the case sensitive, the letters. Okay, this word only case sensitive. R should be the small letter. We cannot write R as a capital letter. If you are writing R as a capital letter and phycoerythrin, then it's a completely blunder and we won't consider that word you have written as for the pigment purpose only. And we will say you have written only chlorophyll A and B, and we will give the marks only for that. And we can deduct the marks when you have not written the R phycoerythrin for the red algal members. Okay. There is a systematic way how to proceed for writing the points only. R phycoerythrin. Okay. Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and the R phycoerythrin are the chlorophyll D is also present in the red algal members, which will do the more amount of the photosynthesis. And the next comes in the brown algal members. In the brown algal members, chlorophyll A is present. Chlorophyll A is present. Apart from that, chlorophyll C is present. Then it is having the phycoxanthin. Carotenoids are present, and then it is having the fucoxanthin in it. Xanthophylls of fucoxanthin, which gives the brown color for the algal members. So in this, the chlorophyll A, C, carotenoids, and xanthophylls of fucoxanthin is present. So this is the most important one for the 2 marks questions from this chapter, as well as for the 4 marks questions. Okay. And the next one is the once they are preparing their own food material by the photosynthesis, whether they are the autotrophic organisms, so in which form the food is going to be stored. Usually, after the photosynthesis, food has to be stored in the form of starch, isn't it? But here, in which form it is present? That is the most important one. So, in the red algal members, it is present in the form of Floridian starch. In the red algal members, starch is present in the form of Floridian starch. Whereas in the brown algal members, it is present in the form of mannitol or laminarian. Laminarian starch. Okay. Here it is the Floridian starch, and here it is the mannitol or the laminarian starch. Now comes the reproduction process. How the reproduction occurs, asexual and the sexual methods. So the asexual reproduction occurs by the formation of the motile gametes in the brown algae. That is the motile gametes means they are the biflagellated spores are present. Okay, so that is the asexual reproduction in the brown algae. Whereas in the red algae, that occurs with the non-motile spores. There is no motility in the spores in the red algal members. And in the next one comes with the sexual type of reproduction. Sexual reproduction occurs by the non-motile gametes in the red algal members. These are the red algae. And these are the brown algae. Okay. In the brown algae, the sexual reproduction occurs by the formation of the biflagellated gametes. And these flagella, where they are present on the lateral side of the gametes. Like this. So the gamete is having the specific shape in the brown algae. Why I have drawn only like that? Why not like this? You may get it out, isn't it? That is the specific shape for the gamete in the brown algae. So these are the biflagellated. Only 2 flagella are present for the gametes, so they are present on the lateral side for the brown algae. So the gametes are having the normal shape in the red algae. There is no specific shape in the red algal members. Whereas in the brown algae, they are the pear-shaped and called as the pyriform. So whenever pyriform, the gamete will be like this. On one side, it is having the oval, that is the somewhat ejected type, and a curve, and a groove will be present on the another side. So in that groove only, the flagella are going to be arise. So that is the pyriform, what we will say. Okay. So these are the pear-shaped and having the pyriform. So how the pear shape, how the pear will occur? Like this, we will see a pear now. Okay. So if you see this somewhat, it looks like that. That is the pear-shaped gametes. Okay. And those are called as the pyriform, but having a small groove at one side only, not on both sides, so that they can start producing the flagella in that groove. Okay. And the next one is the how the sexual reproduction occurs, because the sexual reproduction is of the three different types with the gametes. That is the isogamous, anisogamous, and the oogamous type. What is meant by isogamous? Iso means same type. Okay. So in the isogamous type, the gametes are of same size. There is no such distinction between the male and the female gametes in the isogamous type. And the anisogamous means one is bigger and another gamete is somewhat smaller. And whenever the size difference is there, then the motility also differs. Okay, the bigger one cannot move fast and the smaller one can move very fast. That is the anisogamous. Okay, so in this, the female gamete is somewhat bigger than the male gamete, and male gamete will move faster than the female gamete. And the last one is the oogamous type. Oogamous means in this only one gamete is motile. That is the male gamete, which is having a small size. That is the motile one. And the female gamete is completely bigger and non-motile in nature. That is the oogamous type. So in the red algal members, the sexual reproduction occurs by the oogamous type. Whereas in the brown algae, the sexual reproduction occurs by three different ways: isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. Any type of the sexual reproduction can be seen in the brown algae. And the female, so in this one, we said the sexual reproduction in the red algae is of the oogamous. So what we have to say, the female reproductive part and the male reproductive part, that need to be mentioned now. So in the female reproductive part in the red algal members is called as the carpogonium. That is a flask-shaped structure. And the male reproductive part is called as the spermatium. That is the male reproductive part. Whereas in the brown algae, there is no such specification of the sex organs. Okay, so the sex organs are not very well developed in the brown algae as in the red algae. Okay, so in this, the best example in the red algae is Polysiphonia. Here you have to write only one example. Whatever you feel easy, you can go with this. Okay, Polysiphonia, otherwise Porphyra. And in the brown algae, it's the Ectocarpus, otherwise Laminaria. Remember here the Laminaria and here the Polysiphonia, because Laminaria, the laminarian starch, what we are saying in the brown algal members. So it's easy for us to go with the organism name also, Laminaria, laminarian starch. Easy na? Easy to remember. So like that only we need to go now in the first year. Once we have perfect by after the exams, then we can go with the other words, other organism names that are coming in the specific class to prepare for ourselves thoroughly with the competitive exam wise. That's up to our wish. Okay. Now comes with the next question. Next one is the differentiate between the liver rods and the mosses. Liver rods and mosses, these are again the common names for the classes that are present in the division Bryophyta. So the bryophytic organisms are the Bryophyta. Bryophytic, this is the division. Okay, in this division, Bryophyta, three classes are there. That is the liver rods, horn rods, and the mosses. These are the common names for the classes over here in this division. And these organisms are the first land plant, that is the amphibians of the complete plant kingdom also we can say, because they can live in the presence of the abundant water, as well as when water is not there, they can start their life on the soil molecules. So these are the first organisms in the entire plant kingdom, those who have started their life on the soil molecules directly. Because in this, all these are the aquatic organisms. That means they are living in the water. What we said, brackish water, marine water, fresh water, all are aquatic in nature. That is smallest organisms, otherwise the biggest organism, but those are aquatic. They cannot live without water. But the bryophytic organisms are the organisms which has started their life on the soil. So these are the amphibians of the plant kingdom. So this is again the 2 marks question for us. Okay, what are amphibians of the plant kingdom? Give an example. Otherwise, give 2 examples. Anything. Whenever they are making the number, they are mentioning the number of the examples in the question, then you need to give those many examples only. You cannot go according to your choice. Okay, if they asked us to go with write the 2 examples, means we have to write 2. If we are writing only 1 example over there, that is what we think that's sufficient. What I have written is sufficient, more than, as if the invigilator was crying in front of you, right? At least this better, I will give you the marks. It's not like that. So you should not take everything granted from your side. Okay, this is the misconception of the students, and that has to be corrected at least now. If not, you are the sufferer for the higher studies, not in inter. In inter, there is no such thing to be suffer, pass or fail enough. But in the higher studies, where the faculties will scold the inter faculties, those who taught you, directly, indirectly, we are the ones who are blamed over there. Okay, including the parents. So take care of, not for us, at least to your parents. You are most bothered for your parents now, at least for them, because they will say that who taught you, and whether the parents are also not seeing what you are writing, what you are preparing. So should not give that much of chance to anyone to say a single word to our parents now. So be cautious and be prompt in reading the question. Don't come to the assumption initially. After reading the question only, you have to come to the assumption. Okay, otherwise you are the losers. So here 2 examples they will ask in each and every question in the 4th chapter VSQs. Take care of all these things. Okay, so amphibians of the plant kingdom are the bryophytic division. Okay, the division belongs to the division Bryophyta. All those are the amphibians. What is meant by amphibians? The plants which can live in the abundant water medium as well as on the soil molecules. Those are the amphibians of the plant kingdom. So here examples also we are going through in this SQ right now. Examples are the Marcantia and the Funaria. Marcantia and Funaria. So spellings are important. I cannot do anything in this. Marcantia. If you are getting any such problem in writing the spelling, split the word, but don't give the space in between the letters. Okay. So request and an order also. Okay. First of all, I'll say request, but it's not a request, it's a finally order. Because if I'll break your name into the small letters, will you accept? No, no. Same thing for the organism also. We should not break the word name with the letters. In some people will write like this. They will prepare like this. Mar, can, Shia. We will prepare like this, but the in between the letters, the space should not come. So take care of all these minimum things when we are learning the subject. From first year onwards, we have to learn the things properly because we are going to be the becoming doctor, professionalism when we are going, then we have to be very much perfect over there. Okay, Markantia. So this one will have this word can be split into two. Markantia. But you have to join those and you have to give the one name only. Writing the organism name is only one. We cannot make it into the two. But once we are learning, it will be easy for us. Markantia. March, we know the month March. Okay, M-A-R-C-H, March. Then A-N-T-I-A, Markantia. Like this, we have to prepare the spelling. Okay. So now we will go with the differences between the liver rots and the mosses. Liver rots. Liver rots means this is the common name for the class Hepaticopsida. Class name is Hepaticopsida. So those who are preparing for the improvement exams, they have to write this class name is mandatory, and when you are going for the competitive exam, in that obviously they will ask the class name only, scientific names, not with the common names for your kind information. So remember the scientific name. So think so, liver rot is a pet name for the class. We will be having the pet names now. So what mom will call us? Like that here also. So the class name is Hepaticopsida. This is the liver rot's scientific name for the class, Hepaticopsida. Okay, and the mosses are also called as the Bryopsida because it belongs to the division Bryophytes. So the class name is Bryopsida. And where they will grow, where the liver rots will grow, that's the first one what we have to say here. So the liver rots will grow on the moist, shady areas. Okay, such as shady areas means where? On the damp rocks, otherwise bark of the trees, where the liver rots will grow. And the mosses, where the mosses will grow? Mosses will grow mostly on the shady and the moist areas. Okay, shady and the moist areas where the soil is wet. And next point. Now comes the how the organism looks. What is the shape of the organism? When we are saying liver rots, that means the organism is having the liver-shaped thallus. The plant body is a thallus and having a liver shape in the liver rots. Whereas in the mosses, they are having the plant body is having the root-like structures, rhizoids, stem-like structure called as calloid, and the leaf-like structure called as phylloid. Okay, if you don't know these words, that is the calloid and the rhizoid. Rhizoid we know because when we are learning these many classes and the organisms, rhizoids is the common name because once the root was not developed in the organisms, the root-like structures are the rhizoids. Okay, and the stem is calloid and the leaf is phylloid. Okay, if you don't remember the calloid word, but then don't write the rhizoids and the phylloid. So plant is having the root-like structures, stem-like and the leaf-like structures. Mention like that only. Don't go with the words then. Okay. Next one is now this thallus is branched or unbranched. In this, branching is not seen. That means no clear branching. And this mosses are having one single branch for the stem. That is the female branch we can see in this. And the thallus is dioecious. Dioecious means the male and the female thallus are different. Okay, plant, the thallus is dioecious. Thallus means undistinguished plant body, where it cannot be distinguished into the root, stem and the leaves. That is the Markantia. This is Markantia. There is no specific distinguishing of root, stem and leaves. So that is the thallus one, what we can say. And so the thallus is in this Markantia only. It's the dioecious. Male thallus is different, female thallus is different. Whereas in the mosses, it's not that one. The plant is monoecious. Mono means one single plant where both the sex organs are present on the same plant. The male branch and the female branch both are present in the mosses. And the next comes with the reproduction. How the reproduction occurs? Reproduction is the asexual and the sexual type. Okay. So after the sexual reproduction, sporophyte is going to be formed, that is having the foot, seta and capsule in the Markantia, that is in the liver rods. Whereas in the mosses, it is having the foot, long seta and the capsule. Seta is very long in the mosses. And the capsule is having this male flower and the female flower, which are present in the mosses, that is in the funaria. Those are covered with the special leaf-like structures and the sterile hair-like structures. So in the mosses only, what we have to write? The antheridial and the archegonial cluster. That is the male reproductive part and the female reproductive part respectively. Okay. So those are protected externally with the pericytial leaves and paraphysis. Okay. Sterile hair-like structures called as paraphysis. And both are absent in the Hepaticopsida, that is in the liver rods. Pericytial leaves and paraphysis are absent. We can write like that. And in the spores which are present formed in the capsule are going to be released out. So that is a mechanism is going to be seen in the mosses. Okay, spore dispersal occurs by the peristomial teeth with a special mechanism, and that type of special mechanism is absent in the liver rods, and that is occurs with the elaters that are present in the capsule. These are the elaters. Now comes the next one. Gametophytic life cycle is having only one stage in the liver rods, whereas in the mosses, it is having the two stages. That is the protonema, and that is going to be developed into the leafy gametophore. Okay, that is the funaria. And here in the liver rods example is Markantia. So in this, you have to write all these points for the 4 marks. You cannot skip out any single point. And example, and mind it, example never considered as a point in my subject. Okay, we won't consider example as a point, and make sure this. And don't count the points, whatever you have written. All the points, whatever the differences, you need to mention over here. Okay, so we will go with the other FAQs in the next class, that is tomorrow's class, and same time, same channel. Okay, right? Till that, prepare with all these important FAQs. What now I'm going to, I told you. Okay, and whatever we are going to say in this same class, again, those important questions you have to prepare. And at the last, After finishing of the 3 chapters, I will go with the showing the weightage of the chapters, what you have to prepare. Okay, right. Thank you.